What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. My name is Mike and this is our farm. Before I get started covering what we're going to be working on today, I got to go out and give our Berkshire gilt her afternoon feeding. We'll show you the pigs and give you all a little update. Well, if you're new to the channel or maybe just don't remember, this here is our Berkshire gilt, and her name is Wednesday. We have been hand feeding her just because I believe that she's, got to the weight, a good weight that I think is comfortable for her to kind of move around in. So we put her on like a controlled diet, I would say, instead of it being free choice, which is what they get here on this gravity feeder back behind me. The pigs on the other side, that's what they get. They get it as much as they want whenever they want it. They just gotta bump into it to load up the feeder. Her, on the other hand, we've cranked it down, and we now hand feed her once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and that's just to again, like I said, to regulate the feed amount so she doesn't get too big. We're not raising her to eat. We would like her to be at a healthy weight that we could breed her here in the future. Let's take a look at the market hogs we got, and they're over here on the other side of the pen. So sometimes we'll come out here in the afternoon and we'll spray them down with the hose and give them kind of a wet area to roll around in. But for the most part, they do a pretty good job using the nipples. We have had to crank them back a little bit just so they don't flood the area. But they've got enough water, they can drink as much as they want. And whatever spills out, they end up walling around in, getting comfortable. So pigs are doing really good. I think they're very healthy. We've been very, very lucky. The one runt that we had, we named him Yoda. He's now back up to a pretty good size. We put him out to be sold. I've got somebody who is going to take half, and I'm looking for another half buyer right now. But I got faith here in about 2 weeks when they go to the butcher, we should have somebody lined up and a home for him to go to. So a few months back, I went ahead and started planning for this moment right here. And my goal was to figure out a more economical way to spread grass seed and fertilizer, or whatever else we need spread in the near future. I was looking at PTO spreaders, and although there were some used ones on Facebook Marketplace, I haven't checked Craigslist, but there are some used ones out there. The problem I kept running into was price. Pricing of them just wasn't economical for me. I think with COVID and material issues, that the prices were just way too much. Even the used ones were like, the gearbox really wasn't in great shape, or the tub itself was kind of like rotted out from all the fertilizer use. They were still asking like a lot of money for them. So what I decided to do was look into getting like a 12-volt spreader system. Something like you would use up north for spreading like salt or sand, or maybe something like you would attach to the back of an ATV if you're doing food plots. So my capacity is not going to be the same using one of those machines, but price-wise, I thought it would be economical. Turns out that's not the case either. Those are really expensive. So the redneck inside of me decided to make my own, and that's what we've done here. Got it all wired up to a 12-volt source. I went ahead and worked on most of that yesterday, and I do have a little switch here that I put on my console. Wired this in for my lights too. I just don't have the lights mounted yet, but with the flip of the switch, so originally it had an axle that ran across here. I couldn't keep that axle and the wheels on and mount the motor in the same spot. So that had to go. And the pretty cool thing was these holes that these are mounted into were originally there. Also, you'll see here the little plate. I just took a piece of sheet metal and some flat bar and then just kind of welded that up. It's not the greatest thing, but between that and all the little pieces you see down there, I got some spacers, and then I got some collars with some Allen wrenches to kind of do my reducers, because I do have two size shafts. I got the shaft that comes up here through the top, and then the other shaft that would connect to the motor. Those are two dissimilar shafts, so I had to kind of make something work there. This video is not really about me building it. I just kind of wanted to show you what I came up with. And this is untested, so we are not going to know for sure how well this works until we take it out and use it. Let's get some of this equipment offloaded off the tractor. I've still got some parts and material from the wiring I did this morning, and let's get some grass seed mixed up. Go plant some grass. So let's take a look at what we're going to try to plant here. Went over to Rural King over in Gainesville, and they had a pretty good assortment of seeds. So what we've normally been planting here in the past is the just straight Bahia with nothing else mixed into it. And what I found there was Hancock Seeds has a blend that is like a Bermuda type blend, and I think it's only 2 seeds if I remember correctly, but it is yeah, Bermuda, and I got the sticker right here. Let's just look at that. So 75% common Bermuda coated and unhulled, whatever that means, and then it's 25% brown top millet. So these are 25-pound bags. I've got 2 25-pound bags, and I've got 3 50-pound bags of Bahia. So I'm gonna split this evenly, 1 25-pound bag and then 1.5 50-pound bags of Bahia, and that is what I'm going to put out on the 2 acres that we have kind of back there in the back, if you can not see it, but you'll see it when we get over there. Let's get this loaded up. First I gotta take a picture for the gram. All right, so I've had a moment to kind of try this out, and I think the one major downfall, if anyone is thinking about copying me, is all of these fingers inside here. I'm gonna get everything seated, but I think I'm gonna eliminate these in the future. I'm gonna pull this rod back out and cut them off. I think my motor that I've purchased is pretty strong, but when I load this thing up full of seed and put these fingers in here to mix it up, it's got so much restriction or resistance to it, the motor can't turn. So one negative to this design. It's okay though, we're working through it. I'm going to fill this thing up until it starts to slow down a little bit, and then we'll run it, and I'll just come back and I'll just keep filling it up as we go. I don't think I mentioned it yet in this video, but man, it is extremely hot out here today. It is 4th of July. This was my last day before I got to go back to work tomorrow. So trying to get this done. We do got a 60% and then a 70% chance of rain the next couple days. So trying to use Mother Nature to my advantage as much as possible. I didn't really get to talk about it yet, but the field that we're spreading this grass seed in here has been disked. It got cut actually with the bush hog, and then I disked it up about 2 to 3 weeks ago. My plan is to let it rain, and then right after that real good rain, we're going to come in here, mount the disc back on this tractor, and then I'm going to cross disc it. So before I went long ways, and this time we're going to come back and cut the other way, make a cross hatch pattern. I could use a drag, but I don't really have one. I've got one that doesn't really do a great job without a ton of weight added to it. And also this field didn't get shot with any Roundup, so there's still a lot of vegetation. So one more real good disking won't hurt at all, I don't think. On the other field, the 2 acres that's over there by the pigs, I forgot to show it to you while we were over there. That hasn't had anything done to it at all. So I'm gonna kind of run a test with this setup here. I'm gonna go load up the grass seed, and I'm gonna go spread it out there on that 2 acres. And then I think what I'll do is tomorrow when I get home from work, I'm gonna hook the bush hog up to the tractor, and I'm gonna cut everything on that 2 acres, and then come back behind that with the discs. So I'll have grass seed, vegetation, and then I'll disc and then cross disc like we talked about doing on the property we're sitting on right now. Tell me down in the comments what you think about the spreader that I came up with. I think sometimes you have to evaluate some of the projects that you're getting yourself into, and you need to think back whether or not the investment of time is worth it. Right now I'm kind of on the fence with this one, but if you look back at some of the other projects I've had where we've seeded fields, I was doing it by hand with a Chapman hand spreader, and I could only do maybe about 50 pounds at a time before I was just wore out with the heat. And you end up crossing your path a little bit too much, so you don't really get a good disbursement, which I probably did here too. So I don't know. I don't think I could have got 100 pounds of seed out like I did today if I was doing it by hand. But let's pull some of those agitators off the shaft, and maybe let's try it again and see if it works a little bit better. I'm gonna go ahead and get prepped and ready to do this other 2 acres. But before I do that, I'm gonna let y'all know to, if you like this video, to go ahead and hit that thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe. We're shooting for 1,000. We're pretty close, a couple 200 off. But follow us on Instagram, follow us on our Facebook page, and you know, keep in tune with what we're doing, just so you don't always have to follow these videos if you don't have the time to. But I think what I really need, and maybe if I win the lottery, I'll get me a no-till drill. I think that's what I could really use out here. I could get the placement that I want, and I can get the density of seed in the ground the way I want it. But we're balling on a budget here, and those things are not cheap. So anyways, today's 4th of July, so I'm going to relax in the house and do absolutely nothing after the rest of the seed is down, and get ready for the work week. So thank you guys for stopping by. I appreciate it. My name again is Mike, and this is the Fighting Knives Farms YouTube channel. Take it easy.